Alright, well, make sure that you have out this sheet in front of you from yesterday, practicing substitution. Yesterday we looked at some of the easier substitution problems where we just take this side right here, set it equal to this side right here, and then solve for x. And then take that x value and plug it back into one of these two, preferably the easier of the two, if you can tell which one's easier, and then solve it to figure out what r of x or c of x would be, right? So today we're going to work on some problems on the back, and these are a little bit different. So we're going to do one together, maybe we'll do two together, we'll see how much time we have, and kind of just talk about how we can solve these. So when you're substituting, you just want to take and substitute something in for something it's equal to. So right now we have the 4x plus 3 that y equals. We could take that and substitute it in for y. Most of the time though, we take what x equals and we substitute that in for x. In this case it really doesn't matter either way because we got the y all by itself and we've got the x all by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what x equals, this right here, the negative y minus 2, and I'm going to plug that in for x. Alright, so I'm going to rewrite this as y equals 4 times not x, but I'm going to substitute this negative y minus 2 in for x, because that's what x equals. If this is what x equals, I can plug it in for x and replace it. And then put the plus 3 at the end. Now this is a little bit more complex of a problem because you do have to remember how to use the distributive property. So if we distribute here, 4 times negative y is negative 4y. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. We still have the plus 3, and we still got the y. We can combine the negative 8 and the plus 3 together to give us minus 5. We can get rid of the minus 4y by adding 4y to both sides. And that gives us 5y equals negative 5. And now all we have to do is divide by 5 on both sides. And we get y equals negative 1. Right, so all we did is we substituted this value right here in for the x value. So it looks like this. Distributed to get rid of the parentheses. Combined like terms. Got rid of the lowest y value we have and try to get their y's on the same side to get 5y. And then we divided by the 5 to finish simplifying it to get y equals negative 1. Now we're going to take that negative 1 that y equals and we're going to plug it in to one of these two equations up here. Right? It's probably going to be easier to plug it into the one where it's x equals, right? Because we want to know what x equals. So I'll rewrite that now as x equals negative 1, because I put the negative 1 in for y, minus 2. Negative 1 is 1, minus 2, and 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So now we know that our solution is negative 1 for x and negative 1 for y. Right. So it's similar to what we did yesterday in the fact that we're substituting something in. It's different in the fact that that was just not substituting one side equals the other side. So let's try another one real quick. Let's try number 5. Alright, we'll get started on number 5 and we'll see how much time we have. If this cuts out before we finish number 5, just keep working on 5. Try 2, 3, 4. Try all these problems on the back to make sure you get some practice. Alright, so on number 5, this time I'm going to take what y equals and plug it in for y, because it's what y equals. So now I'm going to take the bottom one, x equals negative 2 parentheses 3x minus 4. Those parentheses are really important that you keep those, right? And then we still have the plus 6. Okay? And they're important because that reminds us that we have to multiply the negative 2 times both of these things in here because that's what y equals. And all of what y equals has to be multiplied by the negative 2. And that gives us x equals negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8 plus 6. combine these two together to give us 14, positive 14. Right, and then we will get rid of the minus 6x by adding 6x to both sides. And we'll get 7x equals 14. Divide by 7 on both sides. And we get x equals 2. Okay. Then we'll take this 2 and we're going to plug it in for x. And I'm probably going to want to plug it in for the x right here. Right, because we want to figure out what y equals. So we're going to say y equals 3 times, I'll put it in 2 so you realize that's what I substituted it in for. And then minus 4. So 3 times 2 is 6. And 6 minus 4 is 2. So y equals 2. In these two examples, you saw that both of these numbers are the same. The 2, 2, and the negative 1, negative 1. That is not always the case. Alright, go ahead and try some of the other ones.